thank you, you saved my life. And when that moment happens, it's such a profound impact for where you work and the work you do, and a reminder, this is why I do this work.
Welcome to StaffBuffalo's Pain Points Podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Pain Points Podcast. I'm Lauren Lewis, and I'm here with Mary Czopp, Chief Communications and Development Officer at Child and Family Services. Mary, thank you so much for joining me. I know we joked right before we started. It took a lot to twist your arm to get on the podcast, but
I'm always happy to talk about Child and Family Services and here sit with you and have a conversation. So thank you for having me.
And I've been involved as a volunteer basis with Child and Family Services several years ago and got to learn a lot about the agency and all the different aspects of the agency, the different programming, the ways Child and Family Services shows up in the community. And you've been with the agency for about 16 years. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to have you tell us about your journey as you've really grown up through the agency.
Yes. First of all, thank you for all you've done.
Oh, no problem.
And even though you haven't been helping out in the past few years, we never let the good ones get too far. So we love that you're back. And
I love getting reconnected again.
With us again. Gosh, 16 years. It's wild to think that it's been 16 years and so much has changed over the past 16 years. And yet a lot has stayed the same. What we do and why we do what we do in the community, the heart of that has stayed the same. I think our programs have evolved because the needs have evolved. We've been around for over 153 years.
Oh, wow.
It's a long time. One of our first programs actually was foster care.
Okay.
So to think about how long we've been doing a program like foster care, and then there was adoption services. On an average year, we serve about 10,000 individuals and families. And so that can be through foster care and adoption. We have residential services for youth ages 5 to 14. We have Haven House, which is Erie County's only licensed domestic violence shelter.
Which is wild. It's the only one in Erie County.
It is. And there are other domestic violence prevention services, but we are the only licensed shelter.
Wow.
And we have a shelter, but we also have other advocacy services and counseling services. We have a 24-hour hotline. And really exciting is we're starting to embark on an expansion project to expand our emergency shelter because the need is growing. And like I said earlier, we have to grow to meet that need.
Right.
Every year we are turning away several hundred people who need access to that emergency shelter.
Which is so sad to think about. These people really need help and support, and that the shelter is that full that they just don't have the capacity. So then what do we do?
Yeah, it's a capacity because our shelter is full, and it's also people are coming to us if a mother or a father, it's a fully inclusive shelter, if they're coming to us with 1 or 2 children, we don't have the rooms to accommodate a larger family size. So we really need to not only add more rooms, but we need to add rooms that are large enough to accommodate a family size. So we have a 36-bed shelter now, and with the additional 28 beds, we are going to have a 64-bed shelter.
Wow.
So we're in the process right now of trying to secure funding. So it's not a matter if this project happens, it's a matter of when this project happens. Because we need to
It needs to happen.
Funding.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So funding, if anyone out there listening wants to help support Child and Family Services and Haven House with the expansion, you can definitely reach out to Mary.
For this incredibly life-saving project.
Yes.
But additional to that, we also have our Folk School, which is New York State's largest special education approved day school. We have the capacity to serve up to 630 students.
Wow.
We have 4 campuses throughout Western New York.
And what grades is
it's kindergarten through all the way through high school.
Awesome.
So we're certified to have ages 5 to 21. It's really an incredible school. We have 6 students to 1 teacher, 1 teacher aide. So when students are struggling in a traditional public school classroom, they can come to Folk where they really get that specialized individual attention that they need to thrive and really discover what that individual potential that they have as a student that they might not be able to get in that traditional public school setting.
And I think a lot of times within special education too, there's different ways to learn. There's different ways to teach.
Mm-hmm.
There's different ways to connect with the students so that they are thriving in their educational experience.
And there's so many, like you said, there's so many ways to do that, whether it's through arts, whether it's through woodworking, whether it's through culinary. And that's the amazing thing about Folk School, is there are so many opportunities to get that through internships, through different outside opportunities with public partnerships and collaborations. The students just get such a great experience that they would have never had if they didn't go to a school like Falk. So it's very rewarding for the families too.
And it sounds like there's a lot of partnerships there that organizations that partner with Falk to help provide these opportunities as well for students. If it's can't do woodworking in the school, like maybe there's a partner outside. There's a different electricians like trade they might work with. There's so many different opportunities, I'm sure. But having those organizations to partner with can really help just build the educational opportunities for these students, which is amazing.
Yeah. So I think one of the most unique things about Child and Family Services is we can have a family come into our Folk School, and they might be struggling in so many different ways. So we can partner with the agency and have them go to our outpatient counseling program. So they might be in our outpatient counseling program, and we might find that there are other services that this family needs once we start getting to the root of the problem. So what I find so unique is that we have so many different services, but the variety of services really helps wrap our arms around the family and helps get them everything that they need to be successful in the home. And that helps maybe prevent placement from the child into foster care so that the family can heal and really connect and thrive as a family because of all of our services that we have to help them do that. I think that's a really unique part of our programming, the variety of what we do. Diagnose the problem that someone may come to us with that they might not even realize they're having.
Right.
But because we have such a variety of program offerings, we can really help anybody who comes to us. And really coming to us for help is the first step.
Sometimes I'm sure people don't even know what services are available to get help that they need. And so when you have an organization like Child and Family Services with so many different types of service offerings, like you said, you get to the root cause, but then you also might find different ways to treat and support and help that person and that family really thrive and rebuild.
And part of that issue is, so we know we're here. We've been here for so many years. When I first started, I started talking to people about, I work for Child and Family Services. And I can't tell you how many times people say, you're CPS, right?
Oh.
And because you would say, we're CFS. And so that's really confusing to people.
Super confusing, yeah.
And I said, no, CPS, that's not us. CPS, they're the agency that investigates a suspected allegation of child abuse or child neglect. But we're actually one of the agencies where children come to us if they are removed from their homes. I didn't really understand that distinction. I can't tell you how many times as in my role I would hear on the news when they should have said CFS, they said CPS, and I would have to call and I would have to explain.
Yeah.
So there really is a brand recognition problem and something that we've worked really hard to correct for that reason, because of the confusion, but also for what you just said, that we want people to know that we're here.
Yeah.
We want them to know what services we offer because we're here to help them. We want them to know we have Haven House. We want people to know that if you're interested in being a foster parent, we have children who need a safe home. If you want to be a teacher, come to the Folk School. Because it's not only the services we offer, we also have so many opportunities of employment that really range for different skill sets. So it's just so important that people know who we are. And for that, we did go on a complete rebranding campaign that the work never ends.
No.
But we have a new mission, a new vision, a new logo, and which is right here.
I love it. I love the colors on it.
I know. I'm super excited. Thank you. What I love most about this logo is the different colors. We really modernize, but it represents just the patchwork of different programs that we have.
Oh, I like that story behind that.
Yeah, the inclusivity that what we represent. It's also a lot more childlike and friendly because one of the big audiences we serve are children. There's just so many different stories of diversity and inclusivity behind this logo. We worked with 19 Ideas and they did a wonderful job. So it really is more representative of who we are as an agency and the story we can tell in the community. Yeah, and the agency really embraced the new change and the new brand, and we just kind of went with it from there.
You gotta run with it then. Yeah, and it's very clear too. Child and family service. It's not hidden behind the logo.
Right.
It's not hidden behind some letters. It's spelled out very clear and someone can easily recognize it, which is great.
Yeah.
Rebranding can be tough because you don't want to lose the identity of the organization. If you do, and a brand you've already built over the years, you want to make it to the next level. So it is more visible, it is more recognizable, and it is connecting more to the people in the community, whether they need the services or they're looking for a job or they want to just know about what organizations are doing in the community to help people within our community. It helps with the awareness.
And we did a lot of research before we went to the visual and fun part. I remember that part the best.
Yeah.
And we asked our audiences and our stakeholders and our employees about a name change because that really was the catalyst of what caused all the confusion. But what we learned was our name change also carries the history.
Right.
Our name change is what they do know. And like you just said, people know we serve children. People know we serve families. It has so much credibility behind it. So people recommended that we didn't change the name, which is something that really surprised me.
Yeah.
Because I thought since it was so close to Child Protective Services, and there's also the Office of Children and Family Services, which is the state agency. So we have OCFS, CFS, and CPS, but people didn't want us to change our name.
Yeah.
So we used the name, which everybody seems to know and recognize, and we just had to strengthen the story that's behind that name. And the story is so important to tell and what it means and the persona behind that story.
And the stories are what connect.
Absolutely.
The stories are what connect people in the community. They connect to seeing maybe opportunity. They connect to seeing treatment options and for how they can be that next success story, how they can thrive in their life. It tells the stories of people in their careers, how they built their careers at Child and Family Service. There's just so many different stories that the agency can tell and connect with more and more people in the community, which is, I know from being involved over the years, what we're always trying to do here is connect with the community.
Stories they're the best part of my job.
Yeah.
I tell people that I have the privilege of telling the stories. Although I watch the direct care, they're the unsung heroes of the agency. They're the boots on the ground. They're doing the really challenging work every day. And I always use COVID as an example. So many of us were quarantined and even at times grumbling because we might have been bored or we were protected.
To put your mask on or something. It was just,
But I always remembered thinking about our social workers and our caseworkers who still had to go out and do our child welfare checks, making
which is probably even more important at that point when people were quarantined at home.
Absolutely.
And probably quarantined in not safe environments necessarily.
And weren't going to school.
Right.
Didn't have the escapes that they used to have. May not be getting proper nutrition or going to stores because people were scared to go to stores.
Right.
Weren't getting out and doing the things that they were supposed to be doing. So our workers had to go to families. Now, granted, we were arming them with all the proper personal protective equipment and everything that we could, but they were still out there being in front of people. And their work never stops because of environmental factors. Their job is to make sure that our families and our children are safe, regardless of the circumstances.
Right.
And we try our best to keep them safe, but they are the ones that are doing the really hard work to keep our community safe. And they're the ones that not every story we hear is a success story, but when they have that magical moment that the family is doing the work and the kids are doing better in school, or a family is reunited from foster care, and that's when they are able to see, this is why I do what I do.
Absolutely. And then, every success is different. Not every success is the same. There's all measured extremely differently.
And then they come and tell me that story, and I get to go out and share that story with the community. I get to share the story of their work.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's a great position to be in. And luckily we have a community that wants to support that work.
Absolutely. I'm sure sometimes too, the direct support professionals, the social workers, the people who are doing the work day in and day out, sometimes they don't even think about it. They just do it. True. So they probably see a lot of successes all the time. They probably see a lot of challenges too, I'm sure. But sometimes when they get the success, they might not always think to tell you it either, because they're just like, I'm just doing my job. I'm supposed to do.
It's taken a lot of training for our workforce to tell us the stories, and for us to sit down and talk to them and have a conversation about what was yesterday like for you.
Yeah.
What was last week like for you? Because you described it perfectly. This is just what they do. Mm-hmm. And really, thankfully, it's like that, because when someone comes to us for help, they don't do so thinking that's going to turn around into a story. They don't do it thinking that we're going to then chase them down and ask them if we can tell their story so we can use it to ask for money to support the agency. We have to respect everybody who comes to us for help.
Absolutely. And while respecting privacy and confidentiality, too.
And when you think about when people come to us for help, it's at their most vulnerable time in their life for most of them. And they don't want to put their face out in the community, exposing their most private moments.
Because they don't want people to know what they're going through at all.
A lot of times we tell personas, if you were to come to us for help, we might tell your story, we'll change your name, we'll change all identifying factors. So there's no way anybody in the community could identify that it's you, but yet it's still your story.
Yeah.
A lot of times we have to do that for women and men who come to Haven House, because you have to think about, it's not safe to tell their story.
No.
Their abuser could still be out there. So there's so many factors we have to think about when we're telling a story about Haven House. Sometimes we have been able to show a picture if we know that it's safe for that person, and that person wants to tell their story because it's therapeutic for them and they're ready to tell their story, and there's absolutely no danger for them. Maybe their abuser is in jail, there's no chance for any danger to come to that person, then there is that opportunity.
Yeah.
But then there's the way you tell that story, especially with Haven House. We've come a long way with that messaging. We always want to tailor it with messaging of freedom and hope and what Haven House can do to help. And it's not about the violence. It's not about the scare tactic. It's not about that black eye. It's just about, if you come to us, and the empowerment that you can get from a program that we provide.
Yeah.
So the storytelling is so important and how you use it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we work hard on that.
And you have to, because you're right. It's not about the scare tactic. It's about how can we help you get through this part of your life, past maybe some of the trauma you've endured, and that hope you can have to start fresh and rebuild from where you were in your life. A lot of times we've talked about people who show up to Haven House, they come with the clothes on their back, and that's it. In the middle of the night, they have to just get out of whatever dangerous situation they're in and find safety.
Right.
So it's like, how do we rebuild from that?
Absolutely.
And I know there's probably a lot of people out there, like you said, who want to share their story because they feel like they want to help others too. They're not ashamed. It's part of their story. And they're just like, I want to help. I want people to know, here's what I went through. Here's how I got through it. And here's where I am now. So that hopefully they can connect with someone else too. All about building that connection.
The connection is so important. I can't tell you how many times I may have been out in the community and I'm talking about Haven House, or I'm talking about counseling, and someone would have come up to me and thanked me for the information I'm giving and said, either I need the 24-hour hotline number, or my sister is in trouble, and or it's I was at Haven House. And thank you, you saved my life. And when that moment happens, it's such a profound impact for where you work and the work you do, and a reminder, this is why I do this work. And there's I can't even describe the feeling you have when someone tells you that and shares that with you. First of all, there's just such a trust they put in you. And then when they do allow you to tell that story, I think that's another important part of the connection you do establish with people. Not only when they give you their money for them to support and invest in child and family services, there's such a level of trust there. But when they do share their story, I believe so much that it's my duty to honor what they went through coming to us and what they fought to better their lives, that I really appreciate the opportunity to tell their story, and I want to do it in the best way I can. And it's my connection to that person.
Absolutely.
And the connection to the agency.
I'm sure you've heard a lot of success stories over the years and told a lot. Is there one that really stands out to you?
There is always there's two actually that stands out for me. And I've told them many times, so I don't know, you may have even heard of them. There is one that I heard, this was years ago. It was a little boy who was celebrating his birthday in residential treatment. And we usually get him around 5 years old, and he was turning 6. And every birthday, they always get to pick out a gift. No, they get to pick out what they have for dinner, and they all get gifts on their birthdays. So this was the night before his birthday. His name is Charlie. That's not his real name, but that's what I'm going to call him for the story. And he was so excited about his birthday. He was just like, he could not be controlled. So his bedtime was about 8 o'clock, and he was just every hour, he kept jumping up, asking the workers, is my birthday yet? Is it my birthday yet? And they're like, no, Charlie, but you have to go to bed.
Yeah.
And so probably around 10 o'clock, they're like, yes, it's your birthday, buddy. And they all jumped up and down and sang around the room, pretending it was his birthday. And that finally settled him. Yeah. So I went back to bed, happy. Woke up the next day, went to school. He chose pizza for his birthday. It's funny. I don't know why they even give kids a choice. They always
pick pizza. I still pick pizza for my birthday,
right?
too.
You can't go wrong. So the next day when he had his pizza, and they give each child a cupcake. What was so striking about this is the worker who was telling me the story showed me the picture of Charlie with his cupcake and his birthday candle in the cupcake. He looked at it. He was like, what is this? So the worker was telling me he had never had a birthday cake or a cupcake before. So when they had the cupcake in front of him with the birthday candle, he looked up at the worker and he was like, what do I do with this?
Oh.
Charlie had lived in his car with his father. Mom was incarcerated. So that's where he spent a lot of his life before he came to residential. But what was so profound, it was what we do for kids.
Right.
We normalize their childhood. They had nothing to do with, a lot of them had nothing to do with what brought them to their circumstance.
Right.
But we taught Charlie how to blow out a candle on his first birthday cupcake. And so that's what he did, and he made a wish. He might not remember exactly what the place was called when he blew out his first birthday candle, but maybe he doesn't remember what his workers were, the other kids' names, but he'll remember what age he was, hopefully when he got his first birthday cake.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he has one many years after that.
That's what I hope so too. Mm-hmm. It's such a heartwarming story, but also to see at such a young age and hear how much he went through and never had a birthday cupcake with a candle till he was turning 6, and he was still so excited for his birthday. Didn't know what to expect at all. And that those little simple gestures that we think are simple really are so monumental and huge milestones.
Other kids, and he knew he was going to have that opportunity.
Aww.
And that's what makes our partnerships so valuable in the community, because they make these childhood experiences possible, whether it's field trips to Darien Lake, or sometimes volunteers just come in and spend some time with the kids, or filled backpacks for the start of school, brand new clothes. We make sure every child has the experience that any other child would, because that's what they deserve.
Absolutely. I know our team has spent several days in the summer where we volunteer, and we just play with the kids. It's outdoor games, arts and crafts. It's hard to say it's fun because they're here for reasons they can't be at home. But the agency and Child and Family Services really try to make every day special and let them be kids. It's so great. And it's just their personalities and just talking to them. Our team has always enjoyed it.
Yes.
And I think it makes a difference for the kids too.
It does. I remember one night I was going home, and because our residential program is right behind here, and kids were coming out of a van. They all had medals around their neck. So I stopped and I asked them, "Where'd you get your medals from?" One kid came over, and they had just come back from their therapeutic riding program, horseback riding program. He didn't answer me. Instead, he just looked at my car, and he looked in the back seat. He's, "Where are your kids?"
Oh,
I said, "I don't have any." And he just looked at me like, "Who are you?" And then he said, "Can I honk your horn?"
Oh,
I'm like, "Go ahead."
sure.
So I reached in and he beeped my horn.
Very cute.
And then he did tell me where he came from. Said he was riding his horse, and I said, "Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations!" I gave him a high five, and he asked if he could honk my horn again. So he beeped my horn. And then he just looked at me. He's like, "Will you come in and play Battleship with me?" I was like, "Oh my gosh." If I hadn't been on my way to a meeting, I would have pulled my car right back around.
That's what usually, someplace have to be, I'll be right in there. Let's play Battleship.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, of course I'll play Battleship with you."
Rain check.
I know, right? It was just the most simple request. And it's I'll never forget that moment. I have so many of those moments.
I know, I'm sure.
To work here on campus with the kids, it's just like
you see the day-to-day activities, you see the growth, you see the success stories too.
I see the meltdowns. I see
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I see all of it.
Yeah. Which is why you guys do the work,
right? To the everyday reminder,
support. Help people get through what they're going through and get out on the other side and hopefully thrive. In their life. Absolutely. Now, Mary, like we started in the beginning, you've been here 16 years. What has your journey been like for your career with Child and Family Services and the growth you've seen over the years?
So I was hired in August 2010, and I was hired as the Director of Public Relations. And so I had not done fundraising, really. Now, I had done it at other jobs as like doing special events, but not really like donor-to-donor fundraising, and I did not imagine that's where my career was going to go. And then after a few years, I became the Director of Development and Public Relations, and then I continued to advance from there. Our CEO, who was here until 2020, I became part of the senior leadership team, which really was so monumental for me. I was like definitely the one with the least amount of experience. I was really quiet for a long time in meetings. But
just taking it all in.
But it was such a great experience. I learned so much, and I'm continuing to learn so much. You never stop.
Yeah.
But I look back at the person I was even 10 years ago, and it's really remarkable to see how much I've grown and changed and what I've learned. And I can see that as I use the experience in other roles in the community and other boards I serve on. And sometimes I just sit back and I'm like, how do I even know this? So what I really appreciate, so now being the Chief Communications and Development Officer, so they've nurtured me.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most significant words in our mission statement. We nurture and we grow not only with our programs and services I mentioned, but our own. Our team of employees, I have to say our president and CEO, Elizabeth McPartland, is another excellent example of that.
Oh, right.
She's been here for 27 years.
Yes, she's really grown up with the agency too.
Absolutely. She has been in our adoption program. She's been in our behavioral health programming. She's been in HR. She's been in our community-based programming. She was our chief operating officer.
Wow.
And then she became CEO in March of 2020. I'm not kidding, literally a few weeks before pandemic hit and we went into quarantine. So,
nice timing, right?
I know.
It's like,
congratulations, you're CEO. And then the
figure out a
world
pandemic
changes.
and how we're going to navigate this pandemic.
So it was actually really beneficial to us to have someone who became CEO from within because they knew the internal and external landscape of
our
environment very well.
And she touched through every aspect of the organization pretty much, so she kind of had some knowledge about maybe how each division needed support through COVID too.
It was really lucky for us.
Yeah, that's good timing.
We have a lot of stories like that. We have one of our case planners in preventive has been here for, I think, 35 plus years.
Wow.
It's really wonderful to work at a place with so much longevity. A lot of workers who have been here for many years. And I think that's what's important. We want to keep our own. We want to keep the good ones. We want to keep growing. So if we have an employee who has interests in other parts of the agency, we encourage that.
Yeah.
Because the best thing is we're going to keep you.
Absolutely.
We'd rather keep you here and at least have your talents used in another program because it still benefits the agency and it still benefits the community than lose you to the other agency, another agency. We also have quite a few employees who leave and then they come back. And of course we welcome that too. So I think when we talk about being inclusive and diverse, that is about the programming and the diverse portfolio we have, but it's also our employees. Recruitment and retention are really important to us. Retention especially because it keeps with the continuity of care, which is super important for those who come to us.
And I think within an organization where you have different opportunities, whether in kind of one area of the organization or to touch on different aspects of the organization, you create such a great community of employees where you have that connection amongst employees. You get to know each other. You know the people who've been here the longest. You know people who maybe are new and how we can support them to develop throughout their careers too. It just creates this amazing little ecosystem within the organization. And once someone gets connected to the organization too, like we said earlier, it's hard to leave. There's amazing work you're doing, and it's amazing people. Everyone I've ever interacted with at Child and Family Services has been amazing.
Yeah, I think it's important you have to really focus on your employees. Employee wellness, mental wellness is such an important thing. We're also lucky we have a lot of resources within. We have our employee assistance program within our own agency that also offers outside to the community too. But that's such an integral part of the fabric of what we do. And it's also grown tremendously. So we had, at one point, several years ago, we had 90 contracts. And I think we're up to 140 now.
Oh, wow.
Not a few more. An employee assistance program that concentrates exactly on the wellness, mental wellness of your employees.
Absolutely.
And it is such a great benefit to offer to your work. And it's a free benefit for your employees. And your employers pay really a nominal fee to offer free counseling sessions on a variety of different topics, mental health, mental wellness workshops, crisis intervention. There's so many times I have gone up and I have been at lunch with people, or I have been at different networking opportunities, and I've had companies come up to me and said, thank God for your EAP. We had this crisis. They intervened right away. They were there for our employees, providing one-on-one intervention. They really helped us navigate this crisis. We couldn't have done it without them. So not only do we provide that for the community, but they also provide it for our own staff. So that really helps us navigate not only if we were to ever have a crisis, but also different workshops we have a workshop on Pride Month, whatever's happening that month, our just well-being workshops.
Stress.
We all have.
Yes. There's so many different things about work, like just employee well-being, like doing the tough work that a lot of the employees of Child and Family Services do. Forget, like, they need support too.
Absolutely.
They need to maintain their mental wellness and well-being, their physical wellness and well-being, to be able to provide the care and support that they do, because the jobs that they're doing they're tough. Many of them are very tough.
About our workforce.
Yeah.
If we're going to be worrying about the community, you have to concentrate on your workforce too.
They always say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if your cup is empty, like, you're not going to be able to do the work that you are intended to do.
Right.
You have to keep everyone healthy.
It's a great way of saying it.
They always say, for moms, I'm not a mom. No, you're not a mom.
Nope.
But, like, moms can't take care of their kids unless they take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
Because you're no good if you're not taking care of yourself. So that translates in all aspects of life. Each of us, no matter what we do as people, as family members, aunts, and employees of an organization. It's so important. And as leaders, you have to make sure your team is taken care of. Employee well-being is so important.
Yes, you need those resources.
Yes, absolutely. Mary, in the beginning of the podcast, too, we talked about how the agency has been around for 153 years. That is quite the impressive tenure, and I'm trying to think back of what was 153 years ago. It was the end of the 1800s.
Yes.
And so sometimes you think about it, I don't know, you think back then, there was foster care? I'm like, whoa, you forget that that was something that was probably a part of history. So it's really amazing to see how Child and Family Services has grown and expanded beyond foster care.
I know.
And expanded the services to help the changing and evolving needs of today's society.
It really is just incredible to think about the reasons why it started that long ago are still the reasons we're here today. It's really a special story that we have that I think is unique to the rest of the community. So the mansion that actually we're sitting in here today is called the Richmond Lockwood Mansion. And both Jewett Richmond and Thomas Lockwood, pretty well-known Buffalonians, helped start Child and Family Services.
Oh, okay.
So it dates back to 1873. There was a giant Thanksgiving dinner hosted because along Delaware Avenue, a lot of the city's streets, there were what was called bootblacks. And these were orphaned and abandoned boys who were shining shoes, which is where they got the bootblacks name. They were selling newspapers, pretty much doing whatever they could to stay alive. So actually in the November of 1872, a lot of the prominent figures in Buffalo wanted to host a giant Thanksgiving dinner. So they filled a lot of the churches, Connecticut Street Armory, to usher the boys in from the cold.
Wow.
They wanted to see if they could make a difference. So they had made a difference. They had one night, got a good percentage of those boys off the street, but they knew there wasn't going to, that was just one night. So that following January of 1873, the Buffalo Children's Aid Society was formed. Thomas Letchworth, a well-known name, was actually the first president of the Buffalo Children's Aid Society. And that organization was formed with a simple mission: protect against the abuse and neglect of children. So that you can see how foster care fits in really well. And Thomas Lockwood's mother helped actually put on the first annual dinner of the Buffalo Children's Aid Society, and he moved into this house actually in 1912 after Jewett Richmond. And so when I think about that, and that he worked for the Buffalo Children's Aid Society and he helped volunteered for it, I think about the fact when I walk around this house, it's not lost on me, that he helped with the Buffalo Children's Aid Society. His mother was a very prominent figure with the Buffalo Children's Aid Society. And yet we are back in that home. This was actually the last home we owned in 1998 to complete the entire campus we have here. And we're still working to protect the causes that they formed Child and Family Services for, because Buffalo Children's Aid Society eventually became Child and Family Services in 1972.
Wow.
But we're still working for that vision they had.
That's amazing.
1873, out of the same home. It's just incredible.
It's incredible. They're probably looking down, very proud to see how far the agency has come and how many people you've supported over the 100 years.
Yes. So we've grown, but we're still protecting that same vision and mission because it's obviously still
a need. Yeah, and there's growing needs.
Yes.
How, when you think about where we are today in 2026, where do you see kind of Child and Family Services continuing to grow?
I think it's hard to say. That's not an easy question to answer.
I'm sure.
Because I can't say that there's going to be all this programming added on, because federal funding and state funding is going to have a lot to do with what areas we grow in, or is it smarter for us to maintain? So I don't know if right now it's more a matter of maintaining and filling the need.
Yeah.
Getting funding so we can grow in, for instance, expanding our emergency shelter.
Yeah.
And working our programs like that, because we have a need in Haven House. We have to expand our shelter so we can meet that need. I think right now it's just about growing. We have our Child and Family Services Foundation. We have to grow that so we can ensure that we are around for the future.
Right.
We have to ensure that we have that, if you will, our savings bank.
Yeah.
So that we can be around for generations to come who will need Haven House, who will need foster care and adoption, who will need outpatient counseling. That is, I think, one of the biggest areas we need to make sure.
Yeah.
So that's for our plan giving. Those kind of legacy gifts, that's the area we need to grow the most for long-term sustainability. And as far as programming, there's just a lot of volatility right now with government funding, reimbursement with rates. So right now it's just getting through this year and getting through next year and seeing what happens. But those are the two areas of growth that we see right now, and also just maintaining.
Take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and moving forward and identifying where the opportunities might come from funding to help grow other aspects of the organization that need it at the time. And perfect example in the near future is Haven House's expansion.
And really growing growth doesn't always have to speak in terms of tangible programs. I think that growth is talking about retention, talking about recruitment. Growth in terms of keeping up with technology.
Good point.
So that you are able to provide for the programs. You are able to provide for the recruitment and the retention in order to maintain quality staff, in order to maintain quality programming, because that is all part of our strategy, and you need the technology in order to be able to do that. So I think there's a lot of qualitative elements that go along with growth, and that is part of our strategy, and that is part of growing, even if you aren't adding exciting programming. You have to grow in other areas to maintain quality factors all around with the agency.
And you keep the programs that are in stake, but how do we make them better? Like the technology and what's changing, so we can continue to provide those programs, those services. The service itself might not, just the technology to provide it might.
And meeting the needs.
And training then for the employees too. And to meet the needs.
Staff development, professional development.
Yeah.
That's always at the forefront.
It's not, you're always keeping it's a lot to always keep in mind.
Right.
As this organization is continuing forward, there's a lot, because there's so many different parts to it, which is so interesting.
Yeah.
Mary, if someone's looking to get involved with Child and Family Services or donate to Child and Family Services, how can they do that?
So the easiest way is if they go to our website, C as in child, F as in family, S as in Sam, BNY.org. The donate button is right at the top.
Perfect. Easy. Yes. Can't miss it.
No.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining on the podcast. Absolutely.
It was fun.
And if people are looking to get connected with you and Family Services, we will make sure we link your information in the captions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to chat with you. It's wonderful as always.
I feel like we could talk all day, because there's so many different aspects to talk about with the agency, but I think we covered a lot of it, and I think there's anyone who's listening will find opportunity connect with the agency, or if they need support, now they know more about the services Child and Family Services provides.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Lauren.
And thanks for listening to another episode of the Pain Points Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Pain Points Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us so you never miss out on future episodes.